What's going on, everybody? This is Raw Dog Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo. Ask me about my wiener. How we doing, everybody? We have got a banger episode because we've got a bunch of games to go over. We've got our off-the-hook players of the week as well. And my man, we had a pretty decent little week for our teams. I know Browns Twitter is kind of up in arms. They're not sure if we're happy or if we're fucking angry as hell that the Browns won. I know that I'm happy. So, my man, without further ado, Evo, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm tired. Spent all day doing at-home dad stuff, so it was great. Mother-in-law spent the night last night. She's going to get real pissed. Shit her pants last night on the couch.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So that was fucking awesome. Spent the day cleaning, having to figure out how to clean these new couches appropriately, mopped all the floors and all that stuff while entertaining two twin boys that are about to be turning 10 here very shortly as the new year comes along. But as producer Amber wanted to make sure that we let y'all know this is our last show of 2025, final Raw Dog Sports of this year before we jump into 2026 and the playoffs and everything good that comes with a new year. So we won't be with you until 2026. So happy New Year's in advance, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy New Year's to everybody in advance. It should be a good time. There's going to be some college football on. There will also be some Stranger Things on. For those of you that partake in Stranger Things, I am one of those people. But
did you review bomb? Did you review bomb an episode?
No. I absolutely.
I know you're pretty anti certain things.
No, I'm not. No. I am not anti anything. Listen. I don't think that anything that they did was unknown. I mean, kid's been gay the entire time. So who cares that they pointed out? Doesn't make any difference. But
we're talking about Stranger Things, Mike, not Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, so that was also great. But I can't wait to talk about the Browns and Aaron Rodgers. And I don't think he's gay, though. Not that there would be anything wrong with that. However, Aaron Rodgers is just kind of a douchebag in general. So we can hate him for that.
There you go.
Especially his post-game press conference. He was pretty terse. Didn't have a lot to say. Very short with his answers.
Yeah. I think it's okay to hate Aaron Rodgers. It's not out of the realm of what's right or wrong. Actually, speaking of mother-in-law again, I said, I hated someone or something like that. She's like, no, you can't hate. Hate's a strong word. And I was like, you don't hate anyone? She's like, no. I was like, Hitler? And she was like,
maybe Hitler. Maybe
got her with the Hitler.
Yeah, I feel like you can kind of get anybody on the hook if you don't throw Hitler. Like, oh, I don't hate Hitler. You're immediately going to be like, let's judge this person. So
look, when this show gets big, that's going to get clipped.
100%.
And then we're fucked.
The out of context of that is going to be awful.
The truth, though, is that you could probably go back through all of our episodes and find good clips like that to completely cancel us. And that's because we come at you with the raw authenticity. It's Raw Dog Sports. We don't leave anything off the table for the most part.
We definitely do not. I mean, I asked you guys to ask me about my wiener at the start of the show. So we keep it pretty fucking raw here. But my man, we have a lot of football to go over. The week was kind of okay. I believe I went down in percentage, but I had a positive week. When your percentages are doing pretty well in the season, a mediocre week can kind of derail you. I had the push early. You had a pretty banger week, I believe. You're getting close, flirting to that 60% mark right around there now.
We'll pull it up. I went up a couple percentage points, couple decimals there. I think maybe I didn't even update that correctly. I'm not so sure, but went up a little bit. You went down a couple decimal points there. see here. Yeah, the push hurts, and then going about 500 on the week there didn't help. Both of us didn't pick our teams to win games, and us were, I guess, happily incorrect with those. It's, I would be upset, I guess, if I was running a perfect week, and that's what derailed me.
Right.
About the only thing, but whenever our teams can get a win, in general, because we're sports fans and fans of our teams, we like to see when they win, even if it does hurt our draft position a little bit. And that's
off
of the town
we'll
for
talk about that today.
They're no longer in the playoff hunt. But it was overall a pretty fun week of football. I mean, we had some good games that happened on Christmas. We had some interesting stuff on Saturday, and then a really good slate throughout the rest of the week. I'm ready to get into these games and our players and player teams, so on and so forth, that we think really hit it off this week.
Oh yeah, so let's get it going, man. I will give you guys my off the hook player of the week, and then we can kind of start getting into the recaps. So here we go.
Off the hook. Off the hook.
Off the hook, baby. My off the hook player of the week was somebody who had to have a big game in a big time moment. Derrick Henry was absolutely phenomenal for his team. The Ravens obviously needed some help from my Browns that next day on Sunday, but they took care of business that night. Derrick Henry, not on the field the week prior, people asking questions. They made sure Derrick Henry was 100% involved in this game plan. The entire game plan ran through Derrick Henry, and he went ballistic. Over 200 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, and sets the Ravens up for an opportunity to play the Steelers this week and possibly win the division and fucking go to the playoffs. So Derrick Henry off the fucking hook, man.
Yeah, this was quintessential Harbaugh, oopsie whoopsie, I fucked up bad last week and everyone called me on it type of game. Now, the game script obviously kind of catered to that because you were playing Tyler Huntley, who didn't have himself a terrible game, a good completion percentage, threw a touchdown, barely got over 100 yards, but that's because it was run game focused. You went to your best player on the field, especially in that moment, and they tried to make up for last week's indiscretions. And Derrick Henry had a hell of a banger of a game. Kudos to him. He looked like vintage Derrick Henry. No fumbles. So it was a good one there.
It was a good one. It was a great game, especially because the Packers lose. You were excited about that. And on top of that, Malik Willis looked like he made that offense a lot more fun and dynamic than Jordan Love has made it look at any point in his tenure there. So we're going to have a lot of conversations about what can and should happen with that quarterback position going forward in Green Bay.
Yeah, we'll save that one for when we actually break down the game. But with that, I'll get to my off the hook player of the week. And it's not just a player. It's an entire unit. The defensive unit for the Minnesota Vikings, we already kind of recapped this before, but they had one hell of a day versus one of the better offenses in the league against Detroit. They were able to hold Jared Goff to 197 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown to Isaac Tesla, who does nothing but just 1 acrobatic catch a game, it seems like, and for a touchdown, which is his MO. But 2 interceptions of Jared Goff. They were able to make Jahmyr Gibbs fumble. Jared Goff fumbled another 3 times. So a bunch of turnovers there from Goff. And when you're able to hold this Detroit run game to 68 total rush yards, Jahmyr Gibbs, one of the premier running backs in the league, only getting 41 rushing yards. It's extremely impressive what they were able to do. And you had a Vikings team that is out of the playoffs going up against a Lions team that was fighting for their playoff lives. And it looked like they just were completely dejected, unable to get anything going on offense whatsoever. They had everything to play for, and the Vikings technically didn't, other than pride. And B-Flow got his guys out there in the most dominant fashion possibly of the season. I brought up Harrison Smith a lot in our last show. And he said in his entire tenure, that was one of, if not the most fun, dominant defensive performances that he's been a part of. And he's been a part of a bunch of really good defensive units. The way that they performed was absolutely outstanding. 5 sacks on the day as well. B-Flow is a genius, man. He's a genius. And
my next head coach.
I really do hope that we are able to retain him because his contract does expire after this week. They have not re-signed him yet. I think it's criminal if the NFL and the teams that have head coaching vacancies don't look at him, and I will be sad to see him go, but it's very deserved that he gets another shot as a head coach. The legal litigation is what's really holding him back. And a couple of the teams that are actually going to be looking for head coaches, the Dolphins possibly, and definitely the Giants, are 2 of the teams that are named in his lawsuit. So you can't expect them to be going out there and trying to get a Brian Flores in-house. And then, of course, another team theoretically could come in with a Godfather offer as a defensive coordinator and offer him a lot of money to come in and be the
Why
DC.
would he do that? Why would he leave that position? Like, he's got his personnel set up, and they know that he knows what he's doing. They'll give him anything he wants up there in Minnesota to stay. So if anybody tries to take him away, they would have to they'd have to pay him an astronomical amount of money.
They had better pay him to stay up there because the rumor mill as of right now is that the top landing spot or top team that would be going after him for that DC slot would be the Dallas Cowboys replacing Eberflus if they end up firing him. Jerry Jones has made it very clear and abundant he's willing to pay whatever it takes for coaches, allegedly, in order to get another Super Bowl. That offense there is very good for Dallas, and the defense, Flores has shown to be able to dramatically upgrade a defense despite the personnel being a little bit lackluster at times. He's done the same thing here in Minnesota for years. And from Brian Flores' perspective, if he does not get that head coaching opportunity, but he wants it in the future, it makes sense to go to a larger market, a team that is going to be on the media a lot more.
Well,
probably
if you get
more
Jerry on your
games.
side, Jerry will get all the other owners on your side, and you'll be a head coach again somewhere.
It's very, very possible. So if he's doing it purely for like a PR move, and you know that Jerry will shell out the money for it, it could be a stepping stone to a career move back to a head coaching slot. That being said, Brian Flores did have a press conference today. He was directly asked, do you want to be here next year with the Vikings? And he didn't come out directly and say yes. He said everything but. He ended up saying, my family absolutely loves it here in Minnesota. KOC and the Vikings and the Wilfs, some of the best ownership, best coaching around. He loves the guys. He does have all of his players there. He's built something special there in Minnesota, and he doesn't want to leave. But he did say, at the end of the day, it does kind of come down to a business decision. And he's like, and I hate that it's like that, but I have to do what's best for me and my family and my future. And when he said business decision, the 2 things that came up to me was, 1, going to a franchise that has an offense that can complement him. And if he doesn't believe that the path forward on the offense, specifically around the quarterback in Minnesota, is going to lead to them getting into the playoffs and possibly to a Super Bowl, then he might want to look to go elsewhere. And that's in the short term. Mm-hmm. The other thing is money. And I've said this, I've said it on X, I've said it multiple times to multiple people. He needs to be paid by the Wilfs like a top flight head coach. I do not care what his position is on the team. He is what makes the defense run in Minnesota. He has made them extremely good, despite personnel, despite a lot of resources going into the offense over his defense, and he still makes the best of what he has and makes them a spectacular unit. If Kevin O'Connell were to, heaven forbid, die in a car crash or something like that, B-Flow would obviously immediately take over as the head coach. He is a head coach on this team. We are lucky enough in Minnesota right now to have 2 head coaches, both of them top-tier talent. And I would hope that the Wilfs recognize that. I know KOC probably recognizes it because his first year with a lackluster defensive coordinator was terrible. like the defense was bad, and B-Flow coming in immediately flipped the script. And he needs to be paid like he matters that much.
I agree. Jimmy Haslam should pay him like he matters that much and make him a head coach again. Because you know who's not listed in that fucking indictment or the court case? The Cleveland Browns and Jimmy Haslam. He should be a head coach, man. He's fucking phenomenal. I would love to see what he could do with the defensive personnel that the Cleveland Browns have. Like, and I don't know what would happen with Schwartz. I think Schwartz would probably be gone.
Yeah.
But I would be okay with having B-Flow take over and B-Flow call the defense.
That's the thing is you want to put him on a team that needs less defensive supervision. Like, or more supervision on the defense. Like, your defense is already fantastic. Yeah. Like, if I'm you, I'm going more offensive minded because I need someone to fix my offense and mentor young quarterbacks, whoever it might be.
Shough is becoming a very popular name around.
Well, he's also a defensive guy. Yeah, I think a Kubiak could be interesting, but I mean, I still think Gruden would be a super fun choice.
Listen, I want B-Flow. I will never stop saying that. But if we're gonna bring in like a fucking culture dude, offensive guy, John Gruden, shit, I would be all for it, man. And Gruden's an Ohio guy, so yeah. He would be.
It would be a lot of fun.
Incredible.
It would be a lot of fun. And now, mind you, the teams that he does Flo has named in his lawsuit: the Giants, the Dolphins, the Houston Texans, both for firing him because he wasn't willing to tank. A guy just wants to fucking win, which is what you want as a head coach, and because of possible racial profiling through their hiring processes. So, you know, that's look, he's such a good coach. I know that his time in Minnesota is short. I want it to last as long as possible.
It should be. Somebody has got to make this man a head coach. He deserves it. He's one of the best coaches in the entire NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. Well, with that, those are off the hook players of the week. Are you ready to break down the rest of the week of 17 in the NFL?
Hell yeah, brother. Let's do it. I'm ready to get into this recap because we got 15 games to get through?
Something like that. 3 shy of a full slate.
14 games. 13.
We'll start with our Saturday games.
Oh yeah.
Houston Texans, LA Chargers. Texans end up getting the win 20-16 in this one. And it sounds like Justin Herbert not going to be playing in their next game due to injury. We're going to be seeing a little bit of former San Fran quarterback out there for this team. But what were your thoughts on this game from the Texans in this win?
I mean, big splash plays for the Texans. Honestly, they're not necessarily a team that's going to be methodical and marching down the field because their offensive line is terrible. But CJ Stroud, I mean, threw some beautiful deep balls that ended up in some long touchdowns that was able to get them out in front, and then they were able to play really good defense. We talked about that offensive line, you know, and how they were able to move the pocket and different things versus Dallas, and they were probably not going to be able to do that against Houston. Yeah, and that's exactly the way it showed up, man. I mean, Herbert was sacked 5 times. He gets re-injured. Like, I think that this Houston team could beat anybody in the playoffs because their defense is that good, because they have the ability to make big splash plays. But if you have to have that offense be methodical and go do it drive after drive after drive, they will struggle to make a deep, deep run. But really, that's how Houston was able to get ahead and stay ahead. CJ made mistakes in this game as well. But, I mean, throwing a couple at the first Higgins, 75 yards, fucking, and then to his teammate, in college and in the pros now, Noel. 2 big, long touchdowns really kind of set this game up for the Houston Texans.
Yeah. Yeah, both Texans and Chargers locked into playoff slots at this point, so it makes sense that Herbert's going to get a rest day this coming weekend. But look, the Houston Texans, I think, are the class of the NFL as far as their defense right now. Obviously, your Browns are up there. I think my Vikings are up there. not just being a homer with it. But both of our teams are out of the playoffs. So when you look at this AFC picture, are there any offenses that really stack up against this Houston defense where, like you said, you put this Texans team in the playoffs? What team is going to be able to go up against Houston and have any easy semblance of a time? There's not one lights out offense. If that defense steps up and locks down the other team's offense, you just have to get something clicking with your Texans offense, and you've got a chance to win the game. So they got a chance to make it pretty fucking deep.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. But I don't think that they will. Like, it's who on that offensive. I guess Denver is the one that worries me because Denver's defense is very good. They're not prone to giving up big, splashy plays. They are a defense that if you're going to get it, typically you're going to earn that shit. And that's a lot harder for Houston to do because their offensive line is trash. Like, they started out great. The scripted plays were fucking great in this game. But after that, the offensive line had a really tough time continuing to hold up. I mean, and listen, this Packers team, not the Packers team, Jesus Christ, I'm looking at the next game already. The Chargers team, they're very good. Khalil Mack is a fucking problem. Right? He was all over. He terrorizing people. So, and it'll be interesting to watch these teams in the playoffs. It'll be fun to see who they match up against. Because we got playoff seeding determining still this next week.
For sure. Well, look, if you're looking to head towards next game, we can go ahead and jump into that one. Baltimore Ravens beat Green Bay Packers at home 41-24. An actual good day from Derrick Henry. We've already highlighted that. But we can talk a little bit about the Packers. They're locked into their playoff slot. And Jordan Love wasn't able to clear concussion protocol in time, so they ended up putting Malik Willis back out there. And he had himself a pretty damn good day before going out with a re-aggravated shoulder injury, leaving him as a question mark for Week 18 versus my Vikings, whether or not they even should play him. It might be a Clayton Tune run offense for this Packers in Week 18, where they already have said we're probably sitting most of our starters. It's a solid day from Tyler Huntley. Really fucking good day from Derrick Henry. And this Packers team has some questions around the quarterback spot that isn't just coming from us here at Raw Dog Sports.
No.
It is being talked about a little bit more, at least around the league, as, hey, Malik Willis, another one of these quarterbacks that goes to a bad situation, looks like ass, but after he gets some time under his belt, some tutelage, gets this chance to play and actually looks pretty fucking good when he does that. And now he's going to be a free agent next year. And so he might be one of the most sought after quarterbacks in the free agent market. But you already have Jordan Love there with Green Bay. There's no need for Green Bay to try to re-sign him, right?
Wrong, because they should keep Malik in house. Malik makes that offense better. And what they should do is try to trade Jordan Love, because some idiot, the New York Jets, for sure, will trade at least 2 first-round picks for Jordan Love. Somebody will give up 2 first-round picks for Jordan Love. They should re-sign Malik because they can get him at a much cheaper contract than they got Jordan Love right now.
I think that his contract will be like in between Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold. But based off the way that he's played and the desperation of the quarterback market, with it not being a great quarterback draft and not a whole lot of free agents out there, you can probably sign a Malik Willis for somewhere, because Daniel Jones got $15 million a year for the 1 year. You probably can bring in Malik Willis around 18 to 20 with incentives for a couple years. He probably wants it to be a short-term contract so he can go out there and prove himself and earn a big contract after that. Yeah. And your thought process of trading Jordan Love, we've talked a little bit about the quarterbacks in this draft class. Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore are the 2 names. Mendoza most assuredly is going to come out. And I like Dante Moore a lot, but there's a lot of reasons for him to stay there at Oregon.
Not a lot of time playing. He's only had 18 fucking starts.
And depending on how the college football playoff goes, he either might be forced into like your time should strike now, or to get into the draft and be a high draft pick, or you go into next year's draft class that is going to be much more loaded with talent. You might end up, having a worse year there at Oregon. New offensive coordinator again. You'll have a lot of Nike money in your pocket, but you might drop down the draft board to a less than advantageous spot. And so one of the Raiders or the Jets is going to take a quarterback, and the other one is possibly going to be left looking for another replacement. And so, yeah, you could fleece someone as much as possible for Jordan Love. Trade him away. You'd have to go into the draft knowing your plan. Keep Malik Willis either under that contract and ride with both Jordan Love and Malik Willis, which Jordan Love has shown that he's not been able to stay in the field completely. And you have a high upside guy in Malik. Or you could try to move Jordan Love. The question is how much cap. How much cap? That's the thing, is you would have to do it to whoever the loser of the sweepstakes for a quarterback is, and it's how much money would the Packers end up having to eat, because they just spent a lot of money on a defensive player who's going to be lucky to be back in time to start next season.
All right, let me see if I can pull up what would happen here if Jordan Love. Dead cap of $65.7 million. That's less than fucking Russell Wilson.
I mean, it's a lot. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's also why you leverage that into 2 first-round picks.
100%.
To get back some of those first-round picks that you lost in the trade for Micah Parsons.
Correct. And they typically like to build through the draft up there in Green Bay. So getting in more
guys.
More draft. I don't know why we're trying to help the Packers out, but I mean, moving off of Jordan Love and keeping Malik Willis doesn't sound like the worst idea in the world. Now, people are going to lose their fucking minds in Green Bay, especially the Jordan Love diehards. They are.
But it's not cemented. It's not cemented up there because you do have diehards on every team. We had diehards in Minnesota for Kirk Cousins, but the overall long-term cap savings that you'll get from having a Malik Willis there as your starting quarterback with just as good, if not sometimes better play from a Malik Willis, along with recouping some draft capital. Now, this is the thing, is that both the Raiders, who own the first overall pick right now, and I don't think it will be them that would trade, but you have, let's say, the Jets, who are a very quarterback-needy, desperate team. Mm-hmm. They're going to have a top 5 pick as well. I don't think that they trade that pick this year. So the Packers wouldn't be getting a top 5 pick. If they did, Malik Willis would probably go for that and some change rather than 2 first-round picks. But the Jets, who have extra capital already in future drafts, and in this year's draft, while it's better through the middle, but it's not an A+ draft by any means. It's kind of a C tier draft overall right now by analysts. 2027 is supposed to be very heavy with a lot of really good players. This is going to be our last COVID draft. So you're going to start to see a lot better quality players come out in next year's draft. I would be pushing my draft picks that I would get in return for Jordan Love into next season's draft and ride with Malik this year.
Listen, I think getting off of Jordan Love and sticking with Malik Willis is something that the Packers should explore. I don't think that they will because the optics would be terrible. But I think it's something that in the long-term future, I think they're going to regret not doing. Honestly, I mean, Malik has looked so good in the few games that he's played this year. And, I mean, over the last couple of years, he's actually, but this year his passing looks much more refined, and that was his big knock. He was always a great athlete.
Yeah, that's he. Obviously came from a smaller college, good running quarterback with a big arm. Just the accuracy was a problem, and he wasn't playing up against as good a talent. But now he's had those years to kind of learn, get better. Look, if he ends up hitting the free agency market, like. He will probably get paid pretty decently for the relatively low amount of production that he's had. He's someone that I think my Vikings should be in on if he ends up hitting that open market as a competition. Because as much as I love JJ McCarthy, I am not unaware that we need to have some sort of competition in house to be able to, fight for that starting spot. So, look, it'll be interesting to see what goes on with them. Packers lose this one, Ravens win. They keep their playoffs hopes alive and make for a very interesting matchup here in Week 18 upcoming. So that'll be part of our Saturday show where we go over these games, but it'll be pretty fun and interesting.
It will be. It will be. And we were talking the Jets right now in line for the number 3 overall pick. Vegas is taking a quarterback, no doubt, at number 1. Jets could be right there to take another guy because you don't imagine that New York, the Giants, or Tennessee will be looking to take a quarterback. You do have Arizona lurking there at 5, though, right now, who could be considering a move up to draft a quarterback as well and move off of Kyler Murray.
Hey, dude,
A lot of things could happen with quarterback.
Yeah, I was gonna say if only one quarterback of Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza goes in this draft, and the other one waits until next year's draft, that does shake things up quite a bit, and it might actually work in the Packers' favor if they wanted to move Jordan Love. But I agree with you. I don't think that they're going to move him. I think that they're too invested in the guy, and they do like to kind of build in-house with their quarterbacks. So we'll see.
Listen, Malik is kind of being built in house, but all right, well, man, you ready to move on to the Sunday games because we had a bunch of them and some of them were bangers.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into it.
All right, man. So for me, since we're going off of ESPN and my team is the Browns, that's the first one up. So that's what we're going to roll into. Cleveland Browns get a big time morale boosting win for that locker room and piss off basically all the Browns fans that we interact with on a normal basis on Twitter. I was fucking pumped because listen, this moves us in a position where we're not going to get one of these top 2 quarterbacks. That means we're going to roll with Shedeur, which means we can kind of go with the draft plan that I was hoping for the entire time, which was Cardell Tate and the best tackle available. That is very much a fucking possibility right now because we're no longer in the conversation for one of those top 2 quarterbacks. Because what we absolutely cannot do if we're the Cleveland Browns is spend additional assets besides one draft pick to get a quarterback. So if we have to trade additional picks to move up to get a quarterback, when you just drafted 2 quarterbacks, and you have another quarterback on your roster that you traded 3 first-round picks for, it would very clearly say that the guy who's in charge of the picks in the quarterback position doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So there's no way we can trade up to go and get another quarterback because holy fuck, what are we doing here? So this win moves us into a position where we kind of have to roll with Shedeur unless they're literally going to say, I'm a fucking complete moron. Please fire me.
This will also be a fun clip if this happens. Or if you guys trade for Jordan Love. Or Kyler.
Jesus Christ.
Kyler Murray or
neither one of them.
Oh, there's a wild slate of quarterbacks you guys could be in on if you really felt like moving off Shedeur.
Shedeur Sanders is the guy that we should fucking be in on. So let's talk about this game because honestly, it felt very weird watching it. We should have lost this game, I feel like, because we started out great. The beginning of the game was fantastic. Shedeur looked really good all the way up until Harold Fannin went out of the game. Then things got a lot fucking tougher because that's his favorite target. That's his best target as well. Harold Fannin is easily the best pass catcher on this team, regardless of position. And it's not, he's also probably the best route runner on the team, regardless of position. So him going out hurts, right? And that's when we see the decline in Shedeur's play start to happen. But like he played really well early, cutting the ball through the wind at times. Now the wind was fucking brutal. You could see that the wind was pushing the ball all around. So the fact that we were throwing and it was still halfway successful was pretty goddamn impressive. Now, the first interception on Shedeur, not really his fault. A little bit his fault. You want him to feel the pressure quicker to be able to know it's coming. But, I mean, left tackle basically olays him, and he gets hit. As he's getting hit, the ball is coming out. Changes trajectory of ball. He yeets it into the back of motherfucker's head. Ball goes in air, and at that point, this is the NFL. That shit's getting picked off. If it goes off of somebody's helmet and goes sky high up in the air, somebody other than your team is coming down with that motherfucker. It's like it's a law of nature. Tips and overthrows, baby. Defense has got to get those. They're going to get those. So that was bad. Now, the other interception that he threw was fucking terrible. I don't know what the fuck he thought he was doing. I don't know what Jerry Jeudy thought the fuck he was doing, raising his hand like, hey, throw it to me. Nobody was open. It was a two-man route, and they only brought 4 fucking guys. There was nobody open. So that's a player you got to learn as a rookie. We just got to eat this motherfucker. Let me roll the pocket real quick and yeet this shit out of bounds so we can reset, because there was nothing positive going to come from that play. So good things from Shedeur, but also some really bad negatives. The Browns overall, their defense played phenomenal. It also looked like the Pittsburgh Steelers were not concerned with playing offense. And the broadcast talked about it. They were way more concerned with Myles Garrett not getting that fucking record. Like, everything that they did was intentional towards or away from, like, Myles Garrett. The beginning of the game, Myles Garrett fucked up their whole game plan because they flipped them sides to start the game. Threw everything off. 3 straight runs. They were going to run it 3 times away from Myles Garrett to start the game. Instead, they ran it 3 times at Myles Garrett, and it didn't fucking work out. So it was an interesting non-game plan from the Steelers that allowed the Browns to get a big morale-boosting win. Shedeur played okay at times, like pretty good at times, and really bad at times. You hate seeing the injuries, but you know what? This is a morale booster for these guys. There is something that can be built upon, I think, with this team. We can play good defense, and Shedeur has quality, but he still needs time to grow and learn. He's a fucking rookie he's not even close to making a full season's worth of starts. This is the same thing as the JJ McCarthy thing. This, like, we see it all the time. We've talked about it a lot on the show recently. Fucking teams fail their young quarterbacks a lot faster than the young quarterbacks fail their teams typically. There's a guy that I think that we can build around, and this win sets it up where we kind of fucking have to, and I'm pumped about that. What do you got? I'm sorry I kind of got on my soapbox and went on a tirade there about the Browns. Producer Amber, I'm sure, is going to love clipping through all that shit, but
yeah, no, look, I agree. Like, statistically, you look at this game, and it wasn't fantastic for either side. But the eye test in watching it, one, the weather was obviously a huge playing field leveler for both squads. It was an embarrassment for the Steelers, who basically could have locked up their division. But the eye test matters where stats don't tell the full story. Shedeur looked all the part of an NFL starting quarterback at multiple points in that game. And he also looked every part of a rookie quarterback in parts of that game. A guy who wasn't getting first-team reps through a lot of the year, a guy who didn't have a full offseason as the starter there. He's about to get that. So it's only going to get better. Like, you don't see guys necessarily stagnate. He's going to get better with maturity in the league. And more tutelage and good coaching from hopefully a new offensive-minded coach. But the eye test, I thought he looked all right. Obviously, he made fucking mistakes, but it's enough that you can say, okay, we don't have to go into this draft focused on getting a quarterback. We can work with this and see how it turns out next year and then pivot if we need to. Also, Raheem Rocket Sanders. I thought he had a really good game, and you look at the stat line, and it was nothing special at all. But he looked a lot better than what the stats would show. Your guys on defense did their damn job. It was unfortunate that Myles couldn't get that record going up against Aaron Rodgers. I would have loved to see that. But look, you guys have a good defense. You have an offense that has the semblance of some pieces. If you are able to fix the trenches and get some more weapons there, that focus in this offseason, especially through the draft, will pay dividends. You guys can win games now that you have a quarterback that is more competent than anyone that's been there recently. And that's a little bit disparaging to guys like Joe Flacco, who obviously we know can go out there and play ball, but he is like 40 fucking years old, man. Playing behind a ragtag offensive line without great weapons. So you start to fix those couple things. I think it's, people want immediate gratification. We've seen that in recent years from quarterbacks. Drake Maye, Caleb Williams now this year. And there were still questions on him last year.
We didn't see immediate gratification with Drake Maye. We had to wait a whole year for gratification with Drake Maye. Because guess what? He was not spectacular last year. People were like, man, I don't know. There were flashes, but he's kind of a gunslinger. Can he rein it in? And then this year, obviously, fucking 70+% completion percentage. He reined it in. But it wasn't immediate. Josh Allen wasn't immediate. Like, there are very few times where a guy comes in and it's immediate success. Honestly,
you don't have Jaden Daniels. You don't have Jaden Daniels every year. Justin Herbert stepped in really early and looked really fucking good. Ben Roethlisberger, things like that. Like, those guys don't just grow on trees. People want immediate satisfaction and gratification from their quarterbacks because it is the most important position on the field. And when you pay high draft capital for the guy, you want them to produce right away. But that's just not how the NFL works. There is a learning curve. And to beat that learning curve very early on is a rarity. So you have to give a guy time to mature, develop, get used to the league. And I think you can do that with Shedeur from what I've seen on the eye test. So I know Browns fans want a quarterback. They want it to happen quick. You got to wait sometimes for good things to happen.
It could happen next year, guys. It could literally happen next year with Shedeur. We just have to fucking let it happen. It's the same concept as like the coach. Oh, we're not sure. Well, if you just fire a coach every fucking year, you'll build no consistency, no culture. Why would you do the same thing with a quarterback? Oh, we've seen him play fucking 6 games. Are you guys, come on, grow the fuck up. It's not going to happen immediately. Jesus, let's figure it the fuck out, people.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to our next game. We have the Arizona Cardinals and Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals get the win 37-14. This game was extremely lopsided. It only looks as close as it does because of a fourth quarter garbage time touchdown by the Cardinals. Huge day for Joe Burrow, for Chase Brown, and the receivers there on that Bengals team. The defense actually showed up and played all right. A big offensive showing from the Bengals early on, and they kind of just completely shit on the Cardinals. It was a runaway game for the most part.
Yeah, watching this thing back, man, there's a couple things I took away from. I love Justin Jefferson, but Jamar Chase might be the most dynamic wide receiver in the entire NFL. I don't know who the best wide receiver is, but ball in hand, fucking Jamar Chase might be the best, dude. That his little fucking tiptoe run spin thing down the sideline was insane. Now, granted, playing against a pretty bad Arizona Cardinals secondary, but it was insane. Cardinals had a tough day, but I also noticed that, listen, the Cardinals do not need any more pass catchers on that offensive side of the ball. I've seen some mock drafts start to pop up a lot. I mean, obviously, we're going to see those pop up a lot more recently. And I've seen some with Cardinals looking at pass catcher, wide receiver, high in the first round. And I don't see any reason for that. You highlighted him, a little while ago, but Michael Wilson is a fucking dog. Trey McBride just set the record for most receptions in a season by a tight end in this fucking game. And then you still have Marvin Harrison, who, with a quality quarterback, a professional fucking quarterback, you have seen a lot more things that make you think, okay, this guy can actually be really good. And here's the thing: Michael Wilson's so fucking good. He's on an ascension to becoming a wide receiver one. That if Marvin Harrison only ends up being a high end number 2, you're kind of okay with that because you still have 2 badass wide receivers and a fucking dog at tight end. So they don't need pass catchers. They need to address that defense, the offensive line, and quarterback. There's another team that I think could be looking to maybe move up, draft quarterback, and move off of Kyler Murray. They're not necessarily afraid to do that. They've done it before when they brought Kyler Murray in. It's not working. We've seen that the offense can be much more efficient when Kyler is not the quarterback. And listen, we saw at times that the offense looked really good in this game. Granted, it came later in the game. But the Bengals, they're a way better team than the Cardinals or in this one. The offense was hitting on all cylinders, man.
Yeah, look, I think that Cardinals offense makes a lot more sense in general. Look, Brissett's going to be there next year, and so you know that you can ride with him even if Kyler is still on the roster. Yeah, they need some fixing on the offensive line. Yes, they need help on defense, but the running game, unless you think Connor's going to come back and be good, you get a good running back in there, and things start to become a lot more balanced, make a lot more sense, and they'll have a lot more teeth to that team in general. They do have some searching to do to figure out what they're going to do going forward, though. But with that, we can move on to our next game. Saints and Titans. Saints get the win, 34-26. This one was very close coming down to the end, but the Saints were able to pull ahead. Another good game from Tyler Shough, and he is now square in the conversation, probably rightfully so, for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Initially looked like a guy like Emeka Egbuka, who fell off after week 8 and has been a ghost. And then you have Shough come in, and he has performed like a starting quarterback. He has done really good things on the Saints team. You were talking about this earlier when you were recapping the game, watching the games. Kellen Moore has really done a bang-up job. I did not expect much from Kellen Moore. I expected him to be the fall guy in New Orleans, which was a little bit of a waste, but like he's done so much better with this team than I ever expected him to do, given the lack of quality talent on there. And he's made Tyler Shough into what looks to be at least an average starting NFL quarterback. Really good for a guy who was drafted where he was drafted and without having a whole lot of weapons around him.
Yeah, listen, Shough balled in this game. I can't knock him at all. He put the ball exactly where it needed to be. There were times where things didn't go great. Obviously, sack fumble gives that he loses in this game is tough. But he made really, really good throws. At the same time, it's so fucking easy for him to make these throws because Kellen Moore has drawn up some beautiful fucking shit, dude. And he calls a beautiful game. Like he builds off of one play looks like another play looks like another. Very like Kyle Shanahan building off of one thing into another. It's not just let's try this play because I think they might do this. Like there's a rhyme and reason, and like it's so good his game calling. There were several times like Shough's throwing to dudes that are just running wide fucking open. And granted, they're going against the Titans, which all the knocks on Shedeur when he played the Titans were, well, it's the Titans, he should be able to do that. All of these things. So we also have to either have that grain of salt with Tyler Shough or we don't have that grain of salt with Shedeur Sanders. Because the Titans were playing fairly well, and then some crazy shit happened in this game. One of the most insane strip sacks, probably one of the best strip sacks I've ever seen happen in this game. Chase Young running the loop, chases Cam Ward down from the backside, just takes the fucking football right out of his hand, and then is he's a horse and just takes off into the end zone. It was a good game to watch, man. Like, I didn't think this was going to be much fun, but this was one of the more fun games to watch back because Cam Ward's also insane. I saw the one thing, like, Cam Ward is just Will Levis, but things work out. Yeah. And that's very much true, dude. Like,
I was going to say that anecdote,
decision making is wild.
Yeah, that anecdote was awesome. And it makes sense. Like, they're very similar quarterbacks, except for all the shit that Will Levis tried to do just went bad, and it goes good for Cam Ward. Another anecdote that I heard was that their receiving group there reminds people of like the Green Bay Packers. It's like a whole lot of number 2 and number 3 receivers. No one really stands out, but like if you get good enough quarterback play where they spread the ball around, like you're not going to have anyone that necessarily stands out. I mean, you get guys like Chimere DK, who I love during the draft process, and obviously he's got the most, I believe, all-purpose yards in a season, at least by a rookie this year, because he's a phenomenal receiver as well. But you're getting guys like Chigakonkwo at tight end.
Dude, his fucking run, his touchdown was incredible.
Yeah, like none of these guys are like, ooh, I need to get them on my fantasy team or something like that.
No,
because the ball gets spread around all these different names that are not household names. Alec Iman, who was in the draft as well this year. Like a lot of guys that are number 2s, number 3s, but you have a plethora of them, and you just have to have the ability to get that ball out to them. Like this team is still a year to 2 years away from really being competitive. They've shown that they can be a little bit better towards the end of the year, but they have so many holes to fill that, you know, if they're able to maintain kind of what they have, they can try to get that model of what the Packers have, where it's like, get your defense figured out, solid run game, and then just spread the ball around and death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. All right. You got anything else on that game, brother?
No, ready to move on.
All right, man. Taking us now to Indianapolis, where the Colts lose to the Jags 23-17. And Trevor Lawrence kind of had to fall back down to earth. Jags get the win, but Trevor Lawrence did not ball out. I did say to you while I was watching this game back that they have just an insane amount of skill position talent when they're healthy. Travis Hunter, Brian Thomas Jr., fucking Travis Etienne. You got Jacoby Myers, who just got there. Like, they have dudes. They have a bunch of skill position guys. If they can protect, play defense, this team could be really good. They're a problem. Now, even right now, even this year, they can hold up in a game and play some fucking defense. Like, we've seen them go and ball out. They could potentially end up being the number 1 overall seed still. I think that's still on the table for them, which is fucking crazy because they're the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not a good game by Trevor Lawrence, but they did do enough to get it done. And I love Phillip Rivers. I love everything about what he did, what he stood for, coming back and doing this. But Uncle Phil was throwing medicine balls out there, man. It's tough. Like, watching him try to get the ball out sometimes is like, oh, that one hurt.
Yeah,
I can see the arthritis in the elbow on that one.
And Rivers is going to be fading back into retirement. Riley Leonard getting the start in week 18, which makes sense. You know, things are done. No need to trot him back out there. Go ahead and give Riley Leonard a chance of getting some snaps and see what you got in the guy. Unfortunate end, essentially, to the Colts season, but we kind of saw where that was going after the injury bug got to them, specifically Daniel Jones. And yeah, this Jacksonville team, they didn't need to do a ton in order to get this win. A lot closer of a game than I expected. It, wasn't Trevor Lawrence of the past several weeks, but it wasn't a terrible game by any means.
Right. Well, it wasn't terrible, but
it was enough to get them the win. No. But good win there for the Jags, and yes, still up possibly for that number 1 seed in AFC. Next up, we have the Buccaneers and the Dolphins, a Florida battle. Dolphins end up getting the win here. Embarrassing for the Bucs. But they're not out of it. Bucs aren't out of it. Dolphins.
They need help still now.
They need to do their part, and they need help.
Yeah, they gotta win, and they'll need help from the Falcons, which is not a team that I necessarily want to ask them for a lot of help from. We'll talk about them to wrap up the show, though. This was kind of a Quinn Ewers coming out game, right? Like he looked really good, but once
I thought he looked like ass.
He was throwing to wide open guys when he was making good plays. Like, so design really helped out Quinn Ewers. Jalen Waddle had a fucking game to forget. He was barely even there.
Yeah, he got injured really early on. Look, I thought Ewers looked like ass. He threw for 172 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that's all great. But I mean, you watch his throwing motion. He's got this kind of sidearm flick of the wrist type thing.
It's leading to inaccuracy. Uncle Phil's fucking release,
and he can get the ball down the field, but on any other given day, like this Bucs team has just looked like shit for weeks now. Injuries have really terrorized them. Baker does not look like Baker, like we saw in the beginning of the year. And you put Quinn Ewers up against a more competent defense, and the Olay bullshit throws aren't going to work out. It's enough that you can get by with him as a backup quarterback, and I think that's good that they know that now. Like, this is a guy that we're going to have for several years on this team, and we can know we got a backup quarterback situation figured out. But beyond that, like, I didn't think that it was anything good. We can call it a coming out game for, hey, you are indeed a backup.
Hey, he threw to wide open guys, and they caught it, and they scored touchdowns.
Yeah, they did. But yeah, it was kind of a ho-hum game. Otherwise, the Dolphins were still able to get that win because the defense stepped up a little bit. 2 interceptions on Baker, and a lost fumble by Baker. Not his best day. It is a sad moment for the Bucs because the Bucs looked like a really good team. I thought they were going to be fucking very good in the NFC this year. And this might come down to the end of the time for Todd Bowles. Talking to a Bucs fan earlier this week at work, he's like, I've been calling for Bowles to be fired for a while. Wish the Arians had never gone away. And a lot of Bucs fans coming out saying like, oh yeah, we thought Bowles should have been gone and Liam Cohen should have been promoted. And it's easy to say now when you see what Liam Cohen's doing there in Jacksonville.
Right.
But it could spell the end of Todd Bowles' time in Tampa Bay, which would just add to another growing market of head coach needy teams this offseason.
Well, I have a lot of questions about why the Bucs are the way that they are. Baker is hurt, right? Like, he's been banged up, the off shoulder, the non-throwing shoulder. He threw it 44 times. They only ran the ball 16 times, and 3 of those were fucking Baker Mayfield. They only ended up losing this game by 3 points. Why did they not run the fucking ball more? What are they doing on offense? Like, I get it. Baker is supposed to be your guy. You have a bunch of offensive passing weapons that you would like to get involved. Jalen McMillan had a huge game. Kind of took over that role that Emeka Egbuka was having. But if you don't run the ball at all, it's going to be really hard for your team to continually, to be consistent scoring. You want to control the game a little bit. Run the fucking ball. They should have been able to beat the Dolphins. When I took the Dolphins plus 5.5, I thought that they would lose. I didn't think that they'd win the fucking game by 3, let alone, that didn't make any sense. I don't understand why the Bucs didn't run the fucking ball, even watching it back. Achane had a really good day. The Bucs also cannot fucking tackle to save their goddamn lives, dude. So many missed tackles. Some of that's on Achane, but also the Bucs were just really bad because they couldn't tackle anybody.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. A big question to ask is if Bowles stays, are they going to make a switch at least at offensive coordinator? I don't think that they've been making good decisions on that side of the ball. You have Bucky Irving back, and you are not playing him enough, especially in the spots that he's good. I mean, Sean Tucker, I like. Rashad White has a role, but Bucky Irving's their guy. He's explosive on that offense, and seems like they've shied away from using him ever since he's come back from injury, which I don't think is a good choice. And they shied away from the run. You can't bat 1,000 on offensive coordinators there. I mean, Byron Leftwich did good things while he was there with Brady. And now obviously he's an assistant there with the Colorado Buffaloes. Liam Cohen, we've seen what happened with him. Dave Canales before that, who's starting to turn that Panthers team around. And obviously the guy in there now, I don't think is doing any favors for that offense. So the injury bug, a defense that is kind of leaky, a lot of questions there. Will be interesting offseason for this Bucs, though their season might not be done. They might be able to get into the playoffs still. We'll see.
Even if they get in, they're going to get bounced in the first round. Let's move on to the next one. A team that is going nowhere versus a team that is going potentially very deep in the playoffs. Patriots get a huge win, 42-10 over the Jets. Jets never had a shot. They were never in this game. Drake Maye balled, 5 touchdowns. Patriots really good. Jets really bad. I don't have a lot else to say about this game because it happened very quickly. Like the first half of this game, you could be like, oh, actually the first quarter, you'd be like, okay, got it. Game's over.
Yeah, by halftime, it was over. I mean, 14 points in the first quarter, 21 in the second quarter. It was pretty well out of reach for the Jets. Look, love the Patriots, love what they've done this year, love the coaching and quarterback combo there. They have only won one game versus a team that has a record over 500. They have one of the easiest strength of schedules of the entire year.
They're beating the shit out of these teams, though.
Yeah, they're going to go to the playoffs, and it'll be interesting to see if that schedule really was the reason why they are as good as they are. I mean, we brought it up pretty early in the season that we thought they were going to go double digits, and here we are. They're one of the top teams in the AFC. The only other big storyline from this comes surrounding Stephon Diggs. Shouldn't affect him this year, but he has assault charges brought up against him. That kind of broke today from a former personal chef, apparently arguing about pay. He was supposed to pay her weekly and started paying her monthly, went a month without pay. And she claims that he went into her room and slapped her around a little bit and might have choked her.
Choked her out. Oh.
I don't know.
Strangulation charge, I believe, is what it was.
And yeah, so something to watch for next year. Look, this was probably short-lived with Stephon Diggs on the Patriots as is. It shouldn't affect him going into the playoffs as far as his ability to be active on game day. And we're still waiting to hear the response from Cardi B. So,
I mean, fucking burnt my eggs, man. Fucking Stephon gonna have to fucking choke a bitch?
No, we shouldn't make light of this.
That's true. We should not. That's terrible. I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened. Strangulation is bad. Let's not joke.
This is the thing, is that it is a he said, she said situation. She said that she had some redness on her chest, I believe, but did not take pictures, did not report it at the time that it happened because of his high profile nature. It's could be another situation of attempted extortion, or it could be another NFL player assaulting a woman. We don't know. We'll leave that for the courts to figure out. Yeah. Next up, Seattle Seahawks at the Carolina Panthers. And damn if the NFC South doesn't rear its head again. They are ass. Panthers dropped this one 27-10 versus the Seahawks. And that leads basically into a interesting matchup for Week 18 between the Bucs and the Panthers. Seahawks, another great day from Charbonnet. Good thing Kenneth Walker is a free agent next year, because get him the fuck out of there. That's all I get. Free Kenneth Walker, because that
Charbonnet
dude
had a really good day though.
He did, absolutely. And Kenneth Walker should leave, go be probably for, I don't know, the fucking Cardinals. They need a running back.
They need a running back really bad.
He would fit in great with that team. He's a good runner, good receiver. And if you play him for more than fucking 2 plays, you'll see that. And Charbonnet, by all means, it looks like you've earned yourself a lot of playing time, and you can be the lead back up there in Seattle going forward.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that I got out of this game that I remembered is like, oh yeah, Rico Dowdle, really good player, really dynamic. Man, it kind of burst onto the scene. This could have happened down in Dallas, but Dallas decided they wanted to fuck around and not play him the appropriate amount of snaps while he was down there. But listen, Seahawks were way better than the Cardinals. Bryce Young struggled in this game. He's incredibly limited, man. Even if like he becomes at his max, this really smart cerebral player, he's still going to be wildly limited. Like I don't know that it's ever going to change. You look at the stat line, 14 to 24 for 54 yards, an interception, 2 sacks. Like this is the Bo Nix of Bo Nixest awards that's ever happened. Like we could rename the fucking award to the
I don't know,
Brosmer.
Brosmer for my Vikings.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Three net passing yards. I think it was pretty fucking Bo Nixy.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
So you said it right though. Bryce Young is probably achieved his ceiling. The ceiling isn't going to go that high regardless. Now, we weren't sure about that floor, but the floor has definitely come up a whole lot to the caliber of a starting NFL quarterback, but not one that you're going to feel comfortable with going forward long term as like a guy who can go win you a championship, more than likely. It's just the Panthers are pigeonholed right now where you're probably riding with him for next year, the year after. Like you can't necessarily move off of him until it comes time to pay the guy. And then you have some decisions to make.
Yeah, you don't pick up the 5th year and then you let him move on. I mean,
they're probably in a spot where they have to pick up the 5th year.
What's he on right now? Is this his 3rd year?
Gotta
be his 3rd year. Yeah,
it's got to be his 3rd.
Yeah, which means that decision that's coming up this year.
Unless the Panthers completely suck ass next year, which as of right now, they're in the NFC South. They suck ass with an 8-8 record, I believe. Because the NFC South, home of mega ass football teams, you're not going to be in a position to go out there and draft another guy unless you want to get hyper aggressive in next year's draft. So you ride with them into year 4, and you probably pick up the 5th year option because that gives you the flexibility to try to figure shit out. And maybe he pushes that ceiling more, but I don't see it happening. Look, props to the Panthers for being as good as they are this year. They're still NFC South mega ass, but
yeah, they are mega ass. Seahawks, very good. They will have a chance to go very deep in the playoffs. And I'm playing for the number 1 seed, I believe, against the 49ers on Saturday, correct? Is that right?
Yes, on Saturday.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Boom. Which we are not going over any of the Saturday games. We are only recapping. We are already running a little long, but my man, Evo, you got anything else on Seahawks Panthers?
No, we only got a couple more to get through, and we'll definitely fire through these. This next one doesn't need a whole lot of diatribe. This was the first overall pick bowl, essentially. Giants versus Raiders. Giants get the win 34-10 versus a Raiders team that definitely wanted that number 1 overall pick. Congrats to Wan'Dale Robinson, shortest player ever to go over 1,000 receiving yards. Good for him. Good 1K season. And he's going to be a free agent next year. Going to earn himself a pretty decent contract as kind of that number 2, number 3 slot type of guy. And Raiders, I don't know how you feel about the Max Crosby situation. I get it from his perspective. I also get it from the Raiders' perspective. You need to sit him and try to let him be healthy, be there for next year, or get healthy so you can try to move him. But, Max Crosby, I do think it's pretty fucking hilarious that he's saying, no, I want to play. I don't give a fuck about the first overall pick. And they're like, actually, you need surgery on your knee, so we're going to sit you for the rest of the year. And he says, oh, really? Here's videos of me fucking jumping on a trampoline and playing basketball. I'm perfectly fine. I could have played this game.
He was out there dunking, right?
Yeah. Like you kind of brought up on our last show, fractured relationship. A lot of things can change in an off season. Obviously, a lot of things can change with money. One of the best defensive players out there as far as a defensive end.
Well, listen, he just got paid. I don't think that there's anything that they're probably tied at the hip.
Yeah. I mean, you can still move him. You can still move him if he's like, I'm not fucking playing here anymore. But I get it from a business perspective. I get it from the player perspective of wanting to play as well. it's a tough spot. It's a weird relationship, but Raiders also mega ass.
Yeah, listen, and this was a foregone conclusion. I was so fucking dead set that this was happening, and I feel even better about it now. The Giants are not a great team. They're not a 24-point better than any other team in the NFL team. The Raiders had no intention on winning that fucking game. And I think everybody knew that as well. They're going to get the number 1 overall pick. Will it be Fernando Mendoza? Will it be Dante Moore? No idea. You can guarantee it will be a quarterback, though. And they're going to hold pat. They are not riding with Geno into the future, I don't think. Geno potentially going to be back on that team as the bridge for the new rookie, but they are drafting quarterback for sure. So Raiders fans, start doing a deep dive. Mendoza or Moore. I can tell you I like Moore better, a higher ceiling player, but the floor is lower right now because he has not played a lot of football.
Yeah, I brought this up to you. I'm really sold on Moore. I do think that he needs more time, and more reps and everything. He's a perfect candidate to sit for at least half a year. Unfortunately, you go to one of these teams drafting that high, you're probably
Arizona. He can sit behind Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, but he looks like a lighter version of a Herbert or Maye to me. With some of the stuff that he does, I think that he's going to be a really fun prospect. But with that, we can move on to our next game: Philadelphia Eagles and Buffalo Bills. Eagles end up getting the win, 13-12. Weird little scoregami type of score there. A pedestrian day from Josh Allen, a lot of passing yards, but nothing much else to write about. And James Cook was held to 74 yards, which is one of the big things that we've been saying with this Bills team. If you were able to kind of shut down James Cook, get him out of the end zone, keep him less than 100 yards, it really starts to stymie that Bills team. Eagles able to get the win here without having to do a whole lot of anything special.
Yeah, this game was kind of boring. Weather really played hell on this game as well. The entire fucking Northeast was just fucking ravaged by wind and rain and snow. And there's actually, I don't remember the name of it. There's some shit that happened to Lake Erie where on the East Coast over in Buffalo, the water level raised 13 and a half fucking feet on Lake Erie and went down like 7.5 feet on the other side by Toledo. Like, that's how bad the fucking weather and the winds were on like Sunday going into Monday. So the weather was fucking brutal out there in Buffalo. I thought the Bills would get a win. I did not take into account how bad the weather would be up there as well. Because I thought about that here in Cleveland. I did not realize that was also going to be going on in fucking Buffalo. But, man, that for sure played a role. Jalen Hurts gets it done. Eagles get a win. They're in a good position heading into the playoffs. I think, is their playoff seating locked in? I think it's pretty close if it's not. I don't think that they're playing for much more.
Philly is clinched their division. That's about it.
Okay.
They're 11-5, tied with the Bears, which is going to be one of our next teams that we talk about as far as their record. These games going into next week.
So yeah, I mean, but they can't get the 2 seed because they lost the tiebreaker to the Bears.
Well, if the Bears lose and Eagles win, then they would win by record.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I guess they're still playing for some sort of seeding going into this last week. Bills are obviously they're playing for a little bit of seeding as well, but I think you'll see both of these teams rest. Decent game, but really weather really kind of fucked this one if you were hoping for points like we saw in the other game that night.
Yeah, for sure. And that takes us to our Sunday night game, which was
Producer Amber's got it in there for me. It's called a Seiche. That's the thing where the fucking Seiche is how you spell it. So if you guys are interested, get the little Google machine. Apparently apparently wind can blow a whole fucking lake over to one side.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Look, where else do you get these fun weather terminology things on Raw Dog Sports?
Fucking Raw Dog Sports, baby.
That's in the Weather Channel. All right. Sunday night game, a wild one versus the Bears and 49ers. 49ers end up getting the win 42-38. A lot of fucking scoring, obviously, in this one. Weather wasn't a factor there. And it was just offensive firepower, no defense, it seemed like, from either side, because lots and lots of scoring. Truly felt like one of those games. Last team to have the ball was the one that was going to win. Christian McCaffrey had a phenomenal night. 140 yards on the ground. Back was fucked up. They're hitting him with the Theragun. Things looked awkward with it. They let Brian Robinson out there for one run. They'd be like, oh, you just ran for 7 yards. Christian, get your fucking ass back in there because we're going to keep running your ass into the ground. Big day for the 49ers. And Caleb Williams wasn't able to get it done there on that final drive. Missed a wide open receiver, I believe. But they still were able to put up a lot of points in this game. Showed they got some offensive firepower. Ben Johnson has done a lot of good things with this Bears team. It's not a good game if you wanted to see some defense, but a lot of fun if you like to see scoring.
Yeah, there was a shitload of scoring. This was another one that was fun as shit because I went and watched the whole thing again because I did not make it all the way through to make it to the end of this one. Had to go back. And it's fucking awesome, man. Caleb played great. We have, had we've been critical of Caleb at times, but he was really fucking good in this game, man. And he's got a big, big fucking arm. They have a shitload of offensive firepower as well. DJ Moore is not needed on that team. He could be traded and they could go out and add additional assets in other places.
And I think he will be this offseason. His contract works for him being traded this offseason.
Yeah, they brought in Luther Burden. They got fucking Colson Loveland. Cole Kmet's still there. Like Adunze, when he gets healthy, like they have a ton of guys. And Burden had a banger game. But on the other side, man, Ricky Pearsall finally kind of gets going again. I had him on my fantasy team. He was banged up all fucking year, man. And then now, hey, good game here.
Jake Conge's making the most of another game going out there without Kittle against his old team, technically. Used to be a Bear. Look, Brock Purdy had himself a hell of a night, too. 303 yards, 3 touchdowns. Excuse me, showing that he can do it without all the top-level talent out there. Real fun game. Fun game.
Yeah, fun game. 49ers, not boring this week.
Not boring this week.
Not boring this week.
I'm sure that pissed off plenty of 49ers fans when they were watching that one. All right. And then we have our Monday night game to wrap up week 17, Rams and Falcons. Falcons got to a big lead early on, 21-0 at halftime in this game. Rams started to scrape and claw back. Big story around this was Matt Stafford might have tanked his MVP conversation talks unless he has a really good week 18 and playoffs going forward. A really, really bad night for Matt Stafford. And the reason the Falcons were in this game was because of all the turnovers. 3 interceptions from Stafford in this one. Pick 6, untimely stuff. One that was almost a second pick 6 that ended up getting called back due to an offsides. And a ginormous night from Bijan Robinson. Falcons were able to hold on there at the end. Almost saw potentially the best catch of the year that ended up not being a catch by NFL rule from Puka Nacua at the very end.
Oh, dude, that was insane. I thought for sure. I was like, holy, he caught that motherfucker. And then
all the replays looked like he had it.
Angle.
Yeah. And that would have put them right within field goal position to send this game to overtime. A valiant effort by the Rams there at the end, but now they're on a little bit of a losing streak. They're losing to some teams that they probably shouldn't be losing to, aka NFC fucking South teams. You lose to the Panthers, you lose to the Falcons. It makes me a little bit worried because I felt real fucking good about this Rams team going into playoffs. Hopefully they got this shit out of their system because I do think that the Rams are probably the best team in the NFC going into the playoffs. But a couple bad losses by this team in recent weeks. You've got Carolina, you got the one of Seattle, and now this one of the Falcons. Hopefully it's out of their system, but we'll see.
Listen, they need to get right. Stafford needs to get right. You brought it up. He has had multiple weeks now where he's kind of not played well, and this one probably tanked his MVP consideration. Now, where does MVP go from there?
It brings him a lot closer to Drake May.
Drake May, right? That's the conversation. That's kind of been the conversation all year. Bijan Robinson's a fucking dog. Bijan Robinson is the most dynamic player on the field when Bijan Robinson is on the field. I guess unless they're playing the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson is fucking playing. Listen, they have talent, a ton of offensive talent. Tyler Algier is a really good back as well. Didn't get much play in this one. Didn't need to. Bijan was all over the place. They got to win. It doesn't help them. They're not going anywhere this year, but this is a good win for the Falcons. That defense really showed up, and the rookies really showed up. Watts, 2 big picks, almost 2 pick sixes in this game. So that's big for them that their rookies are starting to take those steps forward because they need those guys. That defense has got to take a step forward for them if they are going to ever reach their goals, their heights, because they haven't been able to get after the passer. Pierce has done a pretty good job of that this year. Leads all rookies with sacks, I think, at 8.5. So he's been doing a good job. And then Watts on the back end was great on Monday night. So,
yeah. And classic Falcons, they don't have anything to play for, and now they are in prime position to affect the rest of their division based on their Week 18 game.
Yeah, I would not hold out any hopes if you're a Bucs fan because the Falcons if they're supposed to win, they won't.
It's a divisional matchup versus the Saints in Atlanta.
Oh, man, they might lose that. They might lose that game.
Who knows what fucking Falcons team is going to show up? Now that they know they don't have anything to play for, maybe they're going to just ball out. We'll see Kirk Chains again. I don't know. But we will talk about that on Saturday when we go over all of our Week 18 games because we do have a bunch of fun storylines here. It's Week 18 a lot of times can be boring because things are kind of set, but we do have several games. 3 games that are vying for who's going to win their division, and a 4th game that kind of matters in assisting who's going to win their division there in the NFC South. It'll be a fun slate to go over there on Saturday.
Hell yeah, man. I'm looking forward to Saturday. We'll have those 16 games. We'll get them all picked for you on Saturday because we got 2 games that Saturday. We'll be looking for that show around 11 o'clock Eastern is what we talked about. So 11 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday. We'll be back wrapping up Week 18. But everybody who tuned in, thank you very much. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So anytime that you give some of it to us, we are forever grateful. I'm going to give my man Evo one last word, and then we're going to bounce out of here until Saturday where we'll get you all of those picks, and we'll see if we can finish our season on a high note, hitting those marks that we were shooting for. But without further ado, my man Evo, take it away.
Yeah, speaking of time and giving us some of your time, thank you everybody who spent some time with us here in 2025. We really appreciate you making this probably the best year that we've had on this program. And onwards and upwards to 2026. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you have it in your heart. We love everyone that comes in, interacts with us, talks shit. Fat AJ McCarron, whatever, angry Falcons fans. We love it. Like, we're not going to make everyone happy. We can't be fans of all 32 teams, and we sure as fuck won't be. But thank you for watching us and enjoying our content and supporting us along the way. And we can't wait to continue delivering this content to you going into 2026 and beyond.
Yeah, well said, my man. Happy New Year's to everybody out there. We will see you guys in the new year. But until then, I'm Mike. That's Evo. This is Raw Dog Sports. We're getting the fuck out of here. See ya.